Welcome back to Ion Radio. I'm Ken, and today we're presenting another Star Trek Alliance battle report. In today's episode, our task force is investigating a planet where there's very likely to contain a Dominion task force or threat, and we're expecting to find some level of resistance in this sector, so this should be a good fight. Before we begin, both John and I, however, would like to thank you very much for joining us and being here as we celebrate our 5th year anniversary here with Ion Radio. And now, to start our second 5-year mission, the finale of Part 1 of the Star Trek Alliance Dominion War campaign, Preemptive Strike.
Captain's Log, Stardate 49434.4. We have gathered all of the reconnaissance data we can from our outposts in the Gamma Quadrant. Everything points to a planetary system about 7 light-years from the wormhole as a strategic supply and control point for the Dominion. Starfleet Command has failed in their attempts to negotiate a peaceful settlement and believes this preemptive strike against the base is our only option to gain the upper hand in the conflict. Our task force is the closest to the system and has been ordered to destroy the installation. Fortunately, the USS Mandel has been replaced with one of the new Defiant-class vessels, the Python. Our task force has been caught in a trap. At this stage, we need to wait for a break in the incoming enemy lines to find a suitable escape vector. Our Federation forces are presently located here. There are 6 incoming attack vectors located in these points. Because of the low Dominion influence in this sector, they have spent time creating weapons platforms. 4 weapons platforms are currently orbiting the planet. As escape is currently impossible, our forces will look to damage all the weapons platforms and hold out as we formulate a plan. Let's take a look at the ship loadouts. After the first round, the task force has managed to destroy the closest weapon platform. The Repulse has lost her shields, 5 attack ships remain and are closing in. At the end of round 2, one of the Jem'Hadar attack ships has been destroyed. The Python's shields are now down to 33%, putting it into danger given the proximity to the untouched weapons platform. In this round, the elite attack ships continued to move parallel to the sector edge instead of turning in to attack. This bought the Federation task force time to concentrate fire on the second weapons platform. Shaken by the loss of another offensive asset, the Jem'Hadar are having difficulty scoring hits. At the beginning of the round, the Dominion Beta formation arrives, opening a hole in the ambushing fleet's perimeter. Federation forces can now safely retreat from this edge. Heavy fire utilizing Photon Torpedoes destroys the closest weapons platform, allowing the Alliance a safer passage to escape. The Federation was able to concentrate fire on the remaining weapons platform, destroying it. Only a single wave of elite attack ships stand between our task force and the edge of the sector where we can jump to warp. Minimal combat this round, with only a single shot from the Jem'Hadar elite fighter. This was narrowly evaded by a natural roll from the Python. With nothing between the Federation ships and the edge of the combat zone, escape looks likely. Our task force has done what is considered to be the impossible and overcome the Dominion's carefully laid out trap. Because of the efforts of our task force, the Federation will be able to hold off any Dominion advances for the time being. As all Dominion weapons platforms have been destroyed and all 3 Federation ships have escaped, all players will gain 5 XP points.
Alright, I'm back, and talking about the game that we just played through, first off, that was kind of mind-blowing. Almost lost the Excelsior, had I think 1-2 health left. This could have easily gone the opposite way. So a couple things I want to talk about the mission. First of all, when you take a look at the map where I had my pieces in the, just north of the planet, and as these ships showed up, I had to kind of fight through defense platforms and make my way back down to this edge of the map to be able to successfully escape the sector and win the mission. One of the more difficult things here that I had to deal with was those weapons platforms. Because I'd been doing so well throughout the campaign, the last 4 missions, I had to deal with 4 weapons platforms that fire 360. No defenses, but that still creates a different problem for me as just another source of fire. So my approach was to go as far to the left as I could, try and keep only one weapons platform in weapons range, and take it out. Just concentrate all fire on it, then move to the next one. The other reason I did this was because each weapons platform is worth an XP point at the end of the game, so I figured it was worth the risk. Keeping the planet between my task force and the other 2 weapons defense platforms I think was a good strategy, wound up working out. Now, having said that, my dice rolls were outstanding. I had a lot of hits where my phasers and my torpedoes were doing 3 or 4 damage to the weapons platforms, and I was taking out enemy ships pretty easily. All the return fire, on the other hand, although they were rolling 2-3 hits with crits, between tokens and my dice, a little bit of manipulation with the dice using battle stations tokens and some of my upgrades, I did manage to successfully avoid all those attacks with the evades. So a little bit of luck there with the dice. Didn't show it this time, just again trying to get through the story. But a lot of good hits there that took on. Like I said, almost took out the Excelsior, came really close to doing that. Anyways, let's move on to the next thing I want to talk about, which is the movement of attack ships. And this is another key to my victory. So when you look at that group that came in, not so much on Sector 5, or on Turn 5, but that initial group of elite Jem'Hadar ships. As you see on the screen here, they're moving very, very slowly along that edge and never really came into attack. So that was 2 elite powerful ships that never had an opportunity to do anything. So again, luck was on my side with that D6 and where these ships were moving to. So a lot of luck here, which is not too dissimilar from what happened with the runabout scenario that I just played last. So I still had a lot of fun with this campaign, and I'm going to say that the Star Trek Alliance box set, there's a lot in here. If you get the full set like this, one of the nice things you get is all the maneuver tools and the tokens and the cards to be able to get yourself into Attack Wing. As I mentioned early on, this is kind of one of my very first experiences into the Star Trek Attack Wing universe, and this actually worked out really well. The cooperative aspect to it really made it enjoyable. So although John wasn't necessarily present for all the filming, he got a screenshot, basically took a picture of the battle and said, what do we need to do? He kind of helped develop a strategy and how we wanted to approach each mission. And on the Intrepid, which originally was the Akira, John made all the decisions on how his experience points was played into to be able to get into the Intrepid. The Intrepid is one of John's favorite ships, so for him, that was his big goal of the game, was getting into that ship. I wanted to try the Nova. I like that ship. It's a cool little ship. And it worked out okay. Surprisingly survived every single mission that I threw it in. But looking at this one with the weapons platforms, my feeling was moving to a Defiant would be the best way to go about it. Anyways, like I said, a lot of value in the box, and I hope you guys really enjoyed the 6 missions that we did for the campaign here for Part 1 of the Dominion War. Now, having said that, we are really looking forward to getting Part 2 out onto the table. So this is going to introduce the Klingons and some new Dominion ships as well. So stay tuned for that. We're going to start filming probably later this year, most likely in the beginning of 2025, so in January. But I hope again that you guys enjoyed this, and until next time, I'm Ken, and you've been watching Ion Radio.